can never exhaust the curriculum of who God is. It's not possible. The day mankind exhausts it, God ceases to be God. The reason why we worship and bow before him was not because he's a giant figure. If not, we'll bow down to the sun and the moon and the stars. The reason is because there is a revelation of himself that humbles us. Humility comes when you know who God is. And when God begins to reveal facets of himself to you, you now realize you are small. Turn to your neighbor and tell them you are small. I know you came here as a big man, but when we measure you in line with God, there will be a deviation. And so every one of us come before God to receive help. Why? Because we are small. God can never be taught. God can only be revealed. And the revelation of God comes only to those that are desperate, hungry, seeking and searching for him. If you come here to hear God from what I will say, you may not hear him. But if your heart is open, he can speak to you beyond my communication. And far beyond the impartation that will happen this night, I want you to receive something from God that will last long. The Lord began to teach me what is referred to as the believer's challenge. And I begin to realize that the 21st century believer has a lot of challenge. But one among those many challenges that the Lord taught me, there are about 8 of them. One is the inability to grow in impartation. And so when you meet an average believer, he is acquainted with all kinds of meetings. He has sown a lot of seed. He has received hands laid by diverse people. It was Bishop David Oyedepo that said, Kenneth Hagin lay hands on so many people, but they did nothing with it. So the challenge there was nothing, but was their inability to grow in the impartation. And so you must be able to understand that every impartation requires a specific kind of knowledge to function. And there is an atmosphere that is sufficient enough to culture the impartation to bring it to limelight. Beyond an impartation, you will go with something that will last you longer. The goal is not for you to leave this meeting and walk in a dimension for 1 month and afterwards your life become a mirage of it. And you wake up and realize, where did this thing go? The goal is that you journey into a place where you are given a place in the spirit, and now you are a custodian, a guardian of this, so that you can be able to communicate the same thing. Because if you can do a thing and you can't communicate it, it's just a waste of time. You are not yet a rabbi. Maybe you try it by luck. And so please, let your heart be open. Forget about me. Forget about me. You know, sometimes you travel for meeting, people size you and they look at you, and when you begin to speak, is it the Philip Cephas? Forget me. There is a voice. That guy. That one is what even me bow to. So forget about it. Are you getting my point now? Focus on the Lord. And if your focus is the Lord himself will come to you. If you come to see a prophet, you will see a prophet. If you come to see an apostle, you see an apostle. If you come to see the Lord, you will see the Lord. So have your seat as we advance this night. But before we advance, I want you to help me appreciate God's choice servant, the angel over this commission again, Apostle Joshua Habila and his beloved wife, for lavishly releasing themselves to serve the body of Christ here, serve Jesus, and make this a possibility for us to be here. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you. We are grateful. And also help me appreciate my beloved mom as my chief supervisor for supervising me and ensuring that I'm in alignment. You know, many of you have nobody that checkmate your life. You are in trouble. Do you understand? You have to return back to read the book of Ephesians so that you understand. Long life and prosperity lies upon honor to parents. If you don't have a biological one, find spiritual parent you can honor. Every time you see untimely death is traceable to dishonor. The operations of God have no regards for dishonor. It's possible that you have a friend that can change your life, but because you are familiar with him, because you dishonor him, you will never be able to walk in certain realities and possibilities. You don't have mate in the things of the spirit. Never. The person you call your mate is not your mate. Everybody is on his own. Because Bishop Oyedepo that said, destiny is like stock exchange, level change per day. Just because you are classmate doesn't mean you remain classmate forever. Because that other person is doing what you are not doing. As we are seated here, all of us are in God, but in different places in God. So don't think that just because we are in Christ, we are all equal. It's a lie. You must be able to understand that if anything is going to be transferred to you, you must bend. Compromise for the moment at least to be able to receive. So if God has set Apostle Abila as part of the pillars, please, you must be able to understand that there is no way you can stand in support until you plunge in. Don't be part of those that dishonor people. Never. Because what you sow is what you reap. Seriously. We are demanded at every time to find parents we can honor. And many times when you see people that cannot make journey progressively spiritually check, they have no regard of honor. You cannot trace them to nowhere. They are just like that. And it's a terrible thing. You can't hate everybody. Do you realize that? No matter how, God has a witness in every region. And it is wisdom for you anytime you find yourself within a locality to decipher who are those that God is sending as his angelos. And you align together for you to be able to read the scrolls in line with your life. Many of you, God has positioned you within this commission, but you feel, well, it's Abila that we know now. We know him. You don't know him. The person you say you know is advancing daily. Hasn't he wonder you? My team of evangelists went to their evangelism one time at home. I bring the greetings from Shekinah Network Internationals. And some of those guys that knew me from school say, is it not Philip Cephas? We know him now. We know this guy now. You know me? I don't even know your name again. See, when it comes to this matter of this kingdom, you must bend your knees in humility and learn. If you see a man functioning in a dimension you know nothing about, you see certain result work, it's not by chance. Try it and see. So wise men like Nicodemus, although he knew that he was part of the critics, he came at night. So what can I do? And do you know that the reason why he came at night was because he doesn't want anybody to know? But Jesus Christ betrayed him. Glory be to God. Because we knew. Because Jesus Christ betrayed him. Immediately after he left, Jesus Christ said, come, Nicodemus came to this house. Tell it to the world. There are many of you that follow men like Nicodemus. You will receive the reward of Nicodemus. Please and please, if God has set your heart to see what God is doing in the life of someone, celebrate it. I have made a commitment to myself to celebrate others until my time has come. Clap for others until your time will come. If God can do it through somebody, he can do it through anybody. It's just the matter of time. So please and please, the way you are going, if you don't find out who are the fathers, who are the mentors, who are those that God have set ahead of you to truly, genuinely honor, you may not live long even in spirituality. That utterance you made may be the reason why the gate is locked. Because there are men that God has put territorially within a region to guard his gate. At certain time before you do anything like Ananias, you must meet them to read to you your scroll. This your hunger and desire and passion and zeal for God. Sometimes God may not answer it. He will point you to men. Follow this one for 2 years. Follow this one for 5 years. Follow this one for 6 years. Follow this one for 7 years. And when you begin to follow, after a while, you now realize that inheritance are actually transferred to only those that serve and honor. That's how it works. Elijah actually had many sons of the prophet. Only Elisha was a servant. All of them were only spiritual children. And every day they say we have a father in the Lord. He's a mighty prophet. His name is Elijah. But one was careful enough to follow serving, pouring water. It was very, very intentional and deliberate. And in the day the mantle was to come, he looked upon that one and it came. It took me time to realize it's a waste of time praying for the mantle of anybody. It will never come because you pray. The mantle itself is vacant. The person don't even have the authority to transfer it. If the mantle look for who fit the criteria, it rests. And until the mantle can find who can fit the criteria, it will keep on moving and moving and moving. If that was the situation, all the bigger churches that the overseers have gone, we should have people that will function in the same authority. There were people that the overseer loved very well. But the thing did not fall upon them. No matter how much, some of them had a person's shoe, half his Bible, half his staff. They sit in his chair. They are more carnal than anyone that's not serving the church. The mantle will look upon them and laugh. You are praying for the mantle of Daddy Babalola. You have been praying and praying and praying. But yet again, you cannot keep up to his concentration. Are you not joking? A man that can go up the mountain and stay for weeks, you can't even try one day. A man that can pray for hours, you can't pray for 1 hour. And every time you come, it's mantle. Babalola, Babalola. How can it come? You are praying for the mantle of Mama Kachikuma. You have 10 boyfriends. She doesn't even have one. So you have to be able to understand that sometimes this thing is just because it has calculated and defined you and you are not fit. Because no man begin a journey without sitting down to calculate the cost. You know the cost and the price for what you are looking for. Do you realize that when certain people mantle rest upon you, you behave like them by default? You don't know that the reason why all your relationship is failing is because somebody mantles upon you. The reason why you are going through the things you are going through is because you partook of someone's mantle. So you find your character, everything is bent towards the same operation. John the Baptist did not want to dress the way he was dressing. In fact, he didn't even want to go to the backside. It was the spirit of Elijah. It just bent the guy like that. Please and please. My problem is that a generation is being deceived. Let it not be told that we are so many in our numbers, in our thousands, and God is still looking for a man. Are we not available? And even if we are available, are we qualified or willing for him to do his own working in us to bring out the joy out of us? Because he has to take away the dross so that he can find a vessel that he can use. Please let your heart be open as much as possible. I want to bring a brief charge, then we pray. I'm bringing a brief charge on the same. We are still on the theme of the conference, Ebenezer. I'm bringing a brief charge on Ebenezer, the stone of help. Ebenezer, the stone of help. It's just an extension of the same thing. The stone of help is actually the Hebrew word for Ebenezer. Is that okay? The meaning of Ebenezer in the Hebrew context is actually the stone of help. I know many of you refer to it as helper. Yes, but it is actually the stone of help, the rock of help. And we cannot be able to understand the genesis of it until we travel back into where it all began. At every point in your life, you are going to need God to truly help you. There is never going to come a point in time when we are not going to be needing God. Never. Never. You will need God more than men in this journey. You believe me. You will need him more than your husband, more than your wife. There are days when a burden will come, you don't even want to see your wife. You don't even want to see your husband. There are days where the things that you hold dearly to become sour and bitter. What do you do? He told Mary, somehow a dagger will pierce through your heart and the thought of many will be revealed. This son you love so dearly, one day he will be killed. And the intent of the heart of many will be revealed. And all those that say they love him, they will say, crucify him. We are upon the altar where God help men. In fact, intentionally as a people, as a ministry, we believe we are a people marvelously helped of God. Marvelously. Anybody I realize in my life, basically, everybody that come towards my direction are people that truly need help. I have never had anybody that came to me that does not need help. Maybe you had somebody that come towards your direction, they are good people. Everybody around my life is a project. I don't know how people profit from spiritual children. My own is problem. Everybody is a garbage of problem. And I realize it's because of the reality of the kind of personality I am. Because who you are will determine who are the people that will be attracted to you. If you see stupid people coming to you, check again. Deep within you, you are a facade. Hypocrisy is killing you because you are actually the kind of the people attracted to you. And so because of the nature of where God took some of us from, everybody in the spirit will see you. And when they need help, God will tell them, look for this person. And when they come to you, there is no glory, there is no beauty. You know it's serious work you have to do. And sometimes I wonder, where will I start from? Because these people are coming out from a situation where their life is battered. But they were the army of David. The story of David was a guy, a young lad, that his mother was not dwelling in the house again. Because David was not truly part of the beloved in the house of Jesse. In fact, his mother was not in the house. David was not the one celebrated, appointed as part of the beloved. If not, the lastborn, is he not supposed to be the one that should be put the coat of many colors like Joseph? So you now see, whether you are loved by your father or hated by your father, the wilderness is the same kind of thing you must go through. Your parents love you so much, they don't want you to suffer. Don't worry. Your own brothers will sell you as slave. And the ones that the parents hate and cast them away, they will still find a cave where they must go. Because the will and the purpose of God must come to pass. So wherever you go to, all of us will meet at the cave. So we don't care where you're coming from. A young guy, we were together that time. When all of us are saying, well, in our family, we are just the only one that is the whole, we are the only one that we are going to graduate. Say, his family, his father is a big man, he has this company, he has that, they are just waiting for him. Whatever degree, come and inherit something. That was his stone. He doesn't know that that stone can be broken. Not long enough before we graduated, his father died. And the very friends that surround his father cast the guy away. And the guy is looking for help. He forgot the stone of help. Your father might have had a privilege, you may not. But you must be able to understand that the same pathway your father followed, you must follow the same. Because many men you see today that had all the privileges, they labor, their children are enjoying. Never deprive your children of the need to labor in the days when God has excelled. Because all of these men were actually men that were helped by God. And David cast away. And all his brothers that were elderly were remaining at home, enjoying things at home. But this one was cast away to go and take care of sheep and take care of cattle. And even the day God wanted to approve of a king, they didn't bring him. But nevertheless, no problem. They didn't know that that was the crucible where God is forging him. In fact, David wrote in the Psalms, he said, in the days my mother and my father forsake me, the Lord is my mother and my father. So that means it's as though his mother cast him away. His mother might have given birth to him and cast him away. What really happened that the mother dwelleth not in the house of Jesse? And she neglected her only son, a lad. And all the rest suppressed him that he cannot even find a place at home. Coming home became like a sin. But from that castaway, being ostracized from the commonwealth of Israel, he connected himself to the commonwealth of Zion. And he became the only voice in the entire Israel. If he has been at home, he might not have encountered God. But because he was cast away, he met God. And in the days, God wants to also make other people. Many of them gather before him again. And many people that were depressed, people that were cast away, people that were in debt, those that went through all kinds of things, destitute, they gather before David again at the cave of Adullam. And by the time they came, he began to do the same work on them again. We now realize that the people that David was attracted to were actually people that had nothing to give him. Because him too was coming out from weakness into strength. So the same kind of people are the ones he's being attracted to. And by default they came to him. So he cannot present himself to them. He has to present the same God that helped him to them. And that was why he took them again to the very foundation, the stone of help where he was made. Upon that altar, see, if you can go through the same sacrifice I can go through, you'll become the same. Because God have no restraint. God have no specialty. There is none of us here that is too important. I'm telling you, Our importance is just because of how much we have yielded ourselves to God. And in the days God began to work upon these men, at the tail end in the book of Samuel, the Bible spoke about the mighty men of David, and how David began to raise 40-something captains. And we saw them in their categories and in their numbers. And these men that were nothing in the society became the only people that are future in the affairs of Israel.